Joe Samaniego here. Want to invite you to go check out Publis. Publis is a dog clothing and accessory company based in Austria. 10% of each of your purchases goes to helping dogs in need, whether it's homeless, sick, or ill dogs. This is one of the reasons why we support it. Kiska here is a rescue dog from rural Alaska and our Grid office dog. We care about our furry buddies, and we know you do as well. Definitely check out Publis.com. There's a link on the video description, and by clicking on that link, you get a 10% discount on your purchase as well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Grid Live Pre-Race. Joe Samaniego, along with Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish, and Joshua Birch from Joshua Birch Motorsports on YouTube. Link in the video description. Subscribe to his channel, and a special thank you to our Patreon subscribers, Colin, Mark, Michelle, and Robin, for keeping us on the air. Be sure to visit our Patreon page, as well as Buy Me a Coffee, where you can buy myself, Kobe, or even Joshua coffee, tea, whatever drinks we all enjoy, and of course contribute to the Grid Network. We're going to start off with the exciting Formula One Qatar Grand Prix. A lot on the line this weekend. This could be the big weekend where we might see a championship deciding moment.
Yeah, and last weekend the Sao Paulo Grand Prix left everyone talking about Lewis Hamilton and his great drive. And like we've said during our NASCAR coverage all year long, the momentum is definitely building in Formula One for the World Championship. Lewis last weekend looked very unbeatable. Had he started on pole, we might be talking about a boring race in Brazil. And earlier this season, Max Verstappen said he doesn't believe in the momentum, carrying the momentum, that the team works hard each week at the track, trying to be perfect each and every race. Practice on Friday, Verstappen was faster than Hamilton, but qualifying today, Hamilton was half a second ahead of Verstappen to win pole position for the Qatar Grand Prix. And Mercedes has faced some criticism for not being as perfect as they normally are this year, missing out on valuable wins and point scoring opportunities when Max was out of contention for the win. Starting with you, Josh, based on what you've seen so far this weekend in Qatar, do you believe Mercedes is as strong as they were last weekend in Brazil?
I really do, and we've seen some really strong performances of Valtteri Bottas as well, topping free practice 2 and free practice 3, and then Hamilton completely washing away all of qualifying, Q1, Q2, and Q3, the fastest. Max Verstappen did top FP1, but then they've had problems with their DRS as well, the flaps being opening and fluttering too much on the way towards turn number 1. It's held them up. They've lost a bit of track time as well. It cost them a lot, actually, in straight line speed. We saw what Red Bull could actually do coming into qualifying as well, and the best could manage was 0.4 of a second off of Hamilton. Hamilton would have been 0.5 as well if many people didn't get confused with the non-yellow flag for Pierre Gasly's accident at the end of the lap. So Max did improve that time as well, but still 4.5 is an amazing run around what is essentially a bike circuit as well. That's some strong pace. It's like when we raced at Mugello last year as well. We're seeing that Mercedes was strong there compared to the Red Bull. It's the same here in Qatar, but we've got 57 laps ahead of us tomorrow. No one's got any race data around this circuit. It's high tyre wear as well. Long speeding corners as well. Lap after lap after lap. It's going to be a hell of a race for the tyres as well. So personally, I think it's still up in the air. But Mercedes definitely has the upper hand compared to Red Bull in terms of outright pace. However, Red Bull could easily do what they did in Brazil and in America. They tried it in Mexico, didn't really work, is to play the undercut card and put Perez in there. If Perez can make a Hamilton-esque start and get up throughout the field, they really have got one high tied behind their back for tomorrow's race.
You bring up a great point about Perez being essentially so far in the back that puts Red Bull at a disadvantage almost immediately before the race even starts. The big thing, tire management with these corners, we know Lewis Hamilton is really good at that. I feel Mercedes does have that upper hand over Red Bull entering this weekend. Still, I do anticipate Max Verstappen to be right there at the start. I wouldn't be surprised if Max Verstappen leads lap 1. However, with that long front stretch, I would not be surprised to see Lewis Hamilton making a pass on Max Verstappen by lap 3 for the lead. Those two are going to be really close. The big thing, pit strategy, the undercut, I think, as you mentioned, is going to be really huge. They're going to be watching for that and then just calculating when's the best time to stop. Because the big thing, if you go for that undercut, you don't want to be stuck behind a McLaren and a Ferrari battling each other. A Haas, a slow car that's going to compromise your strategy and allow that lead car to extend their lead. So it's going to be really close, but I do believe Mercedes is looking a lot better, and they're starting to look like championship form compared to Baku and other races where they've missed out on huge opportunities to score easy wins and points.
Yeah, yes, Mercedes definitely carrying a lot of momentum into Qatar this week, looking really strong. And with Hamilton and Verstappen starting at the front, another chapter is going to be written in their epic rivalry that we're seeing this year in Qatar Grand Prix. Newest addition to the calendar is taking place in the same layout used by MotoGP. Formula One announced a long-term deal to race in Qatar and have a brand new racetrack designed for the future. Compared to modern Formula One tracks, this track is different with flowing corners back and forth, which provides a good test for riders on motorcycles. In a way, since this track is designed for motorcycles, kind of remind me of Barber Motorsports Park here in the States with the IndyCar series. So, Josh, this question's for you. We know you call both Formula One and MotoGP on your YouTube channel, so you're very familiar with the Qatar circuit. What kind of racing should we anticipate at this track?
A lot of close racing as well, a lot of tight packs as well that we saw that have been in qualifying. People are going to be tripping over each other several times as well. Even in MotoGP, we get close racing all the way throughout as well. Drag strips down towards turn number 1. And I think we're going to see similar in Formula One, that long kilometre start-finish straight as well. The only DRS zone on this track, when lap 3 onwards as well, they're going to be slipstreaming left and right as well. It's got a feel of Bahrain to it as well. The drivers can keep close to each other. Overtaking zones, there isn't that many. You can risk it into turn 4 if you're feeling brave. I'd say the overtaking spots, turns 1, turns 2, turns 4, turn 6, maybe turn 12 as well, but it's a triple right-hander with 12, 13, 14 maximum speed as well. I'd say turn 16 also an opportunity to go through. Amber also says, will we see safety cars? Definitely. I think we're going to see quite a lot of safety cars tomorrow because it is a bike circuit. Effectively, what Formula One's done is gone racing on Cadwell Park. It's tiny compared to a normal F1 circuit. But we've had four-wheel racing here before. GP2 Asia raced here in 2009 as well. Sergio Perez won that. Didn't really do well for qualifying today. But yeah, for MotoGP, it's a fast, abrasive circuit where the riders can keep close to each other and slip in between at any of the corners to make a move. And it's a brilliant way to start the season. For Formula One, it's going to be slightly different. Can't slip up every corner as well. It's going to be a lot of follow me leader, but the tension is going to be high. And overtaking spots, as I said, are going to be the ones to watch out for. And because it's such a tight circuit and it leads into flowing corners, easy, say Verstappen went up the inside of Hamilton, they make contact, there's the safety car, because the track it's too big to get to take the cars off separately. They'll have to bring JCBs on and everything. So definitely we're going to see some safety cars tomorrow. If we go safety car free the entire race, I will be very, very surprised. The last time we raced at a bike circuit was Mugello, and I got stopped twice and had 4 safety cars.
Yeah, tight circuit. So definitely contact tomorrow seems very inevitable. And on Friday, besides the practice speeds, we got the official word on Mercedes' request for review. The FIA agreed that it was new evidence all day on board with Max, but essentially no review, says that no penalty was handed down on Thursday. Charles Leclerc made some interesting comments to the media, saying that if there was no penalty for Max, he would change the way he races, knowing what happened in Brazil went without any action from the stewards. Did this potentially open Pandora's box for overly aggressive driving?
I have to say, yes, it does. I mean, Charles Leclerc just saying this is going to change how he drives. We've seen what happened in Austria between Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, then later on Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc. One of the big things I felt with the stewards, they were in a tough situation. They have given a penalty for Max Verstappen last race weekend we'd be talking about how the stewards determined the outcome of the race, not the awesome drive we saw from Lewis Hamilton. They'll also be talking about the championship being impacted by the stewards' decisions as well. Without them making any decisions, we're not talking about making that impact. However, we're now talking about what is this going to change for Formula One racing. Where are the stewards going to draw the line of that's hard racing compared to that's overly aggressive and that deserves a penalty? And right here at Qatar, there's a lot of areas that don't have just more tarmac runoff. You're talking about grass, gravel. We saw Charles Leclerc go off the track, kick up a ton of dust. If you run somebody wide and they get a ton of dust, their race is going to be really ruined compared to what we saw last weekend, where Hamilton and Verstappen both kept it going. So I think this definitely opens Pandora's box for Formula One and aggressive driving.
Completely agree with you there, Joe, as well. And Franz Dieter Renken had an interview with Lewis Hamilton in the press conference, and Lewis Hamilton said that we've been told to expect different decisions from different stewards. So that is the root of all of this inconsistency with the stewards as well, because we've got different driver stewards. I put a tweet out the other day, and I talked about it in the watch-alongs for practice. Let's have one driver steward for the entire season, and let's make it somebody who is completely outside and completely neutral. Don't let it be a Formula One driver. My actual thing was, let's get Dario Franchitti in. He's a 4-time IndyCar champion, 3-time Indy 500 winner. He knows what is fair racing and what's not fair racing. That way, we've got consistency across the board. But it's opened the Pandora's box completely. Are we now saying that Verstappen can force Hamilton off the track anytime Hamilton goes for an attempt? Vice versa. Can Hamilton now push Verstappen completely off at turn 1 in tomorrow's race to defend the lead? Can Gasly do that as well? The two Ferraris, can they knock off the two McLarens to keep third in the constructors by just giving them an elbow at one of the corners? It makes no sense. Verstappen should have had a penalty. It should have only been 5 seconds last time out for forcing a driver off the track. And of course, we go back. Leclerc in Italy 2019 forced Lewis off the track at Dalla Roggia. He got the black and white flag, and if he did it again, he would have got a penalty. That was 2 years ago when the stewards first started with the black and white flag. Verstappen did get a black and white flag, but that was for weaving on the straight. So where's the consistency? It's nothing. Let's have one driver steward across the board, given the power to give penalties, drive-throughs, anything, because he can tell, get a driver in, and he or she, actually, because there's some great ones. I think Jamie Chadwick made a case as well that she would be a great driver steward. Let's get a driver in, sit them down, and give them the power, because they are the only people who can tell if that was malicious or not. So if, let's say, Lando Norris in Austria earlier on this year, making contact, forcing the driver on the track, that was accidental because he had oversteer through the corner and the wheel was sliding. That's accidental. What Verstappen did was malicious. Where's the consistency? Lando got a 5-second penalty. Verstappen didn't. Come on, FIA, sort it out. Get one, get a driver who can do it and give them the power. Because I also had it pointed out to me, and I've been saying, the FIA driver steward that weekend was Vintonio Liuzzi. And do you know who Vintonio Liuzzi is? Ex-Red Bull driver, and is currently still contracted with them. A W Series steward in every race is Amber. I'd agree with that, because I think they can race properly. When was the last time we saw dirty driving in the W Series? Never.
Yeah, you brought up a lot of great points, Josh. I think having an unbiased driver steward making those calls would be really good, because you get a lot more consistency rather than all the inconsistent calls. I had no idea that he was still contracted by Red Bull, so that's definitely not a good look at all, because you can't really say that he's unbiased. So the call should not really be a surprise. And Charles Leclerc's comment said that if there's no penalty or change how he races, it really reminds me of something that happened in NASCAR a couple of years ago with Brad Keselowski. Comments he made, although it was under different circumstances at the time, with the super speedway package NASCAR had. You had to throw big blocks in order to avoid getting run over because the runs were so big. And Brad Keselowski said, the next time somebody throws a bad block on me, I'm just going to keep it in the gas. I'm just going to wreck you if NASCAR's not going to do anything about it. So in a way, I see comments from Charles Leclerc similar to comments Brad Keselowski made, and it's really going to be interesting to see if Charles Leclerc does race his competitors differently and others as well. And with Mercedes bringing the fight to Red Bull, Ferrari's brought the fight to McLaren. Now Ferrari is ahead of McLaren in the constructors. McLaren saw Lando Norris's race ruined on lap 1 last week due to the tire puncture, and Ricciardo dropped out with an engine issue. The team has definitely been on the slide since Sochi. Leclerc could overtake Norris for fifth in the drivers' championship, and we saw the news story during the week about Audi buying out McLaren, which was quickly and strongly denied by McLaren. Before asking this question, I have a comment in the chat room from Humperdinck saying that Julian Palmer would be a great steward. And since his Formula One career ended, I have to say I've been extremely impressed with Julian Palmer for transitioning to a more journalistic type role. I think he's doing an excellent job in his new role post Formula One racing career. And next, here's a question. I guess you guys can chime in on Julian Palmer. I know you will, Josh. But considering the slide in performance, is McLaren missing something since the big Monza win? And could there be some truth behind the rumor about Audi buying out McLaren?
They kept quiet about it. I reached out. They had nothing back. So did a couple of other journalists, actually, bar the official statement is that it's not being brought. We know McLaren are in debt. We know they had to sell the technology center. We know they're renting it off the current owners. What we do know is also that McLaren got a lot of funding in at the beginning of the year. Now, what we understand at the moment is that McLaren are focused on getting third place in the Constructors' Championship, as it's an extra £100,000 bonus they would get if they finished in third place. So they are really sort of grasping onto it with all they've got. They've got a 31.5 gap to Ferrari at the moment, and with Ricciardo starting 14th as well. Lando Norris, though, is starting higher up the grid, though, which is a good news for him. But it really has, as you say, a zigzag season. Lando Norris was consistent up until Russia, and then as soon as Russia hit, he's been going up and down all the time as well as they try and get the car sorted. It hasn't suited the Americas run as much as we thought it would. But Danny Ricciardo has been one of the most inconsistent people all season. Yes, he's won a race, and let's accept that Lando almost won in Russia if it wasn't for the rain. So they're both, in my eyes, capable race winners. I cannot understand what has happened to Ricciardo. He either has a really great weekend or a really bad weekend. And it's not by the tracks we're going to. It's just completely bizarre. I'm hoping he improves next season. Otherwise, if I was McLaren, I might send him packing and get a younger driver in who can help with Lando Norris, because Lando is eyeing up big turn McLaren and maybe even a seat at Mercedes if Lewis leaves. So McLaren have always got to start looking to the future. And I'm sorry, but I don't think Danny Ricciardo is the future for McLaren. I think he's a Rubens Barrichello. He's just there at the moment. He's a flash in the pan of excellence, and I don't see him staying in F1 much longer. Unfortunately, I'm getting a lot of stick for that, I know, but there's a lot more fresh talent coming up, waiting in the wings as well. And to answer your question about Julian Palmer, yeah, he does the BBC Radio 5 live commentary over here, and I know it's available on the F1 app as well with the live timings. And I've even had Hazel Southwell tell me as well. Hazel Southwell, she says, the only man I would ever let explain Formula One technical terms to me is Jolyon Palmer. He is that good at it. Jolyon is a genius. He's a great racing driver as well. He got the short end of the stick with Renault. Remember, he's a GP2 world champion. He's a fantastically quick driver, and he's a wonderful, wonderful guy as well.
Julian Palmer, I think he'll be a great addition when it comes to being a steward, especially seems to have a lot of trust when it comes to the fans following Formula One. One of the big things with McLaren, I think you bring up a really good point. Daniel Ricciardo, he's been in Formula One quite some time now. We know the lifespan of a Formula One driver. Very few last as long as, say, Lewis Hamilton. Sebastian Vettel is getting up there as well, too. Daniel Ricciardo, he's not getting any younger. If he doesn't perform next year, I don't anticipate him to be a third year in McLaren, especially if he has this kind of year. If we take away that Monza result, I feel like we don't really see a whole lot of substance in what he's been doing with that car compared to Lando Norris. And I think overall McLaren, I don't think they're distracted by this news. I don't think there's any truth about this Audi, because if there was any truth about Audi, I think there'll be a lot more pressure of, okay, there's this rumor. What's your future with Audi if they take over McLaren? So definitely, I think there's a lot going on for McLaren, but I think the big thing is just they seem to be on the slide. The consistency is not there for that team, and the big thing when you don't have the momentum, it just seems to be going the wrong way. And it seems like after Sochi, Russia, it's just been sliding the wrong way for them.
Yeah, definitely a lot of issues for McLaren since Sochi, and it's going to be interesting this final three races of the season if they can try to build something going into 2022. If they can have three good races in the year, that'll be solid momentum, and they can use that head into the new year to their advantage, and we'll see how they do next year. And considering the future of the driver line, it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen with Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo, and especially when you have a young Pato Award waiting in the wings for something to happen from the IndyCar series. And Pato said that while he's committed to the Air McLaren SP IndyCar program for the foreseeable future, we all know that young lad wants to race in Formula One. Every young driver wants to race in F1, and if there's an opportunity for him to race in Formula One, get those super license points, win the IndyCar championship next year, it would not surprise me to see Pato Award get the big call up to race for the McLaren Formula One team. So I'm sure Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo definitely are going to be on notice because Pato's coming for their job if the opportunity is there. And along with Ferrari versus McLaren, Alpine and AlphaTauri are tied at 112 points. We've seen Alpine have great drives from Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon. Remember, during the summertime, delivered that massive victory at Hungary. AlphaTauri, not really consistent. They seem to be up towards the front or towards the back. Pierre Gasly has been bringing the team some really solid finish, and Yuki Tsunoda has been under the microscope in the last couple of weeks. So definitely a tough rookie campaign for the Japanese driver. So which team is most likely to score more points this weekend, Alpine or AlphaTauri?
This weekend between those two is so close. Both of them have both cars in the top 10. I think the big thing that's going to happen is what's going to happen to Yuki Tsunoda. If Yuki Tsunoda scores points and Pierre Gasly scores points, I think they're going to be harder to beat compared to Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon. The big thing is if Yuki Tsunoda falls out of the top 10, I'm looking at Alpine scoring more points because I do believe Esteban Ocon has a better chance of finishing in the top 10. The big challenge, of course, if you look at the second half of the grid, there are some drivers that are easily going to get into the top 10. Sergio Perez, he's going to get up there. Charles Leclerc, I anticipate him to move up. Daniel Ricciardo, if he doesn't get 10th place, this just continues his miserable season. So Yuki Tsunoda, he's going to have a battle on his hands to try to stay in the top 10, have a good race. He cannot afford a mistake like in Brazil, where he got damaged so early in the race, causing that safety car to come out. He's been under a lot of pressure, especially after the term we got Sonoda was thrown out. And I think Alpine has that upper hand, but it only matters if Yuki Tsunoda doesn't perform.
Completely agree with you. Absolutely. Because if you look at it, it's Gasly 9th in the standings, then Alonso 10th, Ocon 11th. Gasly has been the top point scorer so far this year as well. Sonoda has had another inconsistent season as well. He did fantastic in Bahrain's qualifying, even in the end of testing in day 3. They were second on the board, and everyone was going, wow, that's a great time from a rookie. Going on to it, though, I think tomorrow it's going to be Alpine because Gasly may finish higher up, but we've got 2 Alpines in the top 10, and we know when they get in there, they are strong. Look at that. Look at the starting grid because we've got Gasly starting 4th. Now, he could possibly get a podium, but then you've got Alonso starting in 5th with Ocon down in 9th place as well. So that's a very strong lineup for Alpine, who've been good with strategy. AlphaTauri might get called in to play backup to Max Verstappen because with Perez starting in 11th, Gasly's now the next one along who could help defend from Valtteri Bottas. So Gasly might get tangled up in the championship battle tomorrow. So watch out for the 2 Alpines to maximise on that as well. As you see the points there with Gasly 9th and Alonso in P10. So my money, Alpine will leave here as the team ahead in the Constructors' Championship.
Yes, Josh, I totally agree with you. I think Alpine is going to outscore AlphaTauri this weekend as well. And it's really crazy seeing how Pierre Gasly is really carrying AlphaTauri. He's carrying the team on his back with the anchor, just dragging them along. And I think the only way we could see AlphaTauri outscore Alpine is we need to see Yuki Tsunoda carry his weight. Like I mentioned, been under the microscope. Although we know it's his first year in Formula One, just gaining the experience in Formula One is a cutthroat business. Or what have you done for me lately? And drivers, unlike the past, you're not given time to develop. And because Formula One is a results driven industry and they want to see the results now, it doesn't matter if it's your first season in Formula One. And next year, I think Yuki Tsunoda is going to be under a lot of pressure because Red Bull has a lot of very talented junior drivers coming out the ranks. I know Yuri Vips and Liam Lawson is going to be looking to try to get that AlphaTauri seat in 2023. So Yuki Tsunoda will need to show the team that he's worth keeping around for the foreseeable future. But overall, I think it's going to be an Alpine weekend over AlphaTauri next year. We have new cars and potential changes within the midfield, and there's new rules for the last place team getting more development time. And we all heard the news reported on it earlier this week. GRIDnet, Chinese driver Guan Yu Zhou joining Alfa Romeo. Williams is going to be adding Alex Albon alongside Latifi to replace the Mercedes-bound George Russell. And Haas F1, they're going all in with that brand new race car. And considering their performance in the last couple of years, they really need that car to perform well because it's been a struggle this year for Nikita Mazepin and Mick Schumacher bringing up the rear of the grid, and Aston Martin. They're gonna have the same drivers, Lance Stroll, Sebastian Vettel, but they may lose their very valuable team principal to another team. And looking at all these teams out of Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, Haas, and Williams, which team do you think is setting themselves up to be the best of the rest in early 2022?
I think there's two. I think Alfa Romeo were expecting a rebrand to Andretti, and then that got ripped up at the 11th hour. So Alfa Romeo will go forward for next year to try and have the big advantage in the midfield. But I think we all know and can expect Aston Martin for first year in F1 after being completely rebranded and completely new car. They're looking strong. I think they'll go into 2022 with the new regulation changes as one of the strongest of the midfield teams, if not even maybe a challenger with McLarens and Ferraris at the top tier. As well. Going forward, I could probably see Haas again being the weakest, limited funding as well. We knew that Gene Haas wanted to pull out of Formula One as early as 2020. Just didn't, kept on, and still doesn't have a title sponsor. That title sponsor of Ukulari as well for 2021 is the side of Mazepin, and they're not best pleased with Mazepin either. So I think the rumor I've been hearing is that Gene Haas wants to pull out, and the team would just be called Ukulari F1 team from possibly as early as 2022. That could be something that breaks over the winter, which would be sad because we'd lose our only American F1 team. I think Haas have done a great job proving that he can come into Formula One and has some strong results. It just all went wrong with the regulation changes in 2020 as well. And of course, we can't forget the Rich Energy scandal, which is still going on to this day, with Rich Energy tweeting, "We're coming back to Formula One, #chapter 2. Yeah, okay, you do that. I'm going to go shoot some flying pigs out the sky for breakfast tomorrow.
Yeah, Rich Energy, I felt was just big time bad news for Haas F1, and that has really put Haas F1 behind the ball when it comes to everyone else. I have to agree with you. I think Aston Martin, even if they lose their team principal, they're still, I think, going to be up there with the mid pack. Definitely battling more with Alpine, AlphaTauri, McLaren, and Ferrari. I don't know exactly the top two teams are within reach, but you just never know. It only takes a crazy race like what we've seen several times this year where we get one of them winning. And Sebastian Vettel, I still think, has some fuel in the tank left. The other team I'm looking at that I see as big time improvements will be Alfa Romeo. I think Valtteri Bottas is going to bring a lot of potential, good, useful information, and without the stress of being essentially Lewis's wingman, I think a change in culture from going from the perfection Mercedes expect to Alfa Romeo. They want to get the best results. They only could go up. A rookie driver with his teammate, I think they're going to look at least seeing Bottas score points, and I'm going to make a guess, 8 to 10 races he's going to score points. Williams, I see them scoring points. It's just a matter of how quickly can Alex Albon get accustomed to that car next year. I think he will be ahead of Nicholas Latifi. And then Haas, I agree. I just don't see them really. They're putting a lot. Maybe Mick Schumacher will score points 2 or 3 times, but that'll be races where we're probably seeing safety cars and a lot of cars not finishing the races.
Yes, there's definitely a lot of storylines to follow heading into the 2022 season. I think Valtteri Bottas, since he won't have all that pressure on it, and since we learned that he would be going out for a male, I've seen a different Valtteri Bottas. It seems like he's a driver when the pressure's on him. That's when he struggles the most. But when the pressure is off of him, we see the very best from Bottas, and he is certainly one of the best Formula One drivers out there when the pressure is not there. So I think the move out for Romeo is going to be really good for him. Aston Martin, totally agree with what you said, Joe. Think Vettel still has a lot left in the tank. Really love to see Aston Martin get that car more competitive so we can potentially see a little bit of the old Sebastian Vettel, a little vintage Vettel there. And Williams, I think it's going to be an interesting partnership between Latifi and Alex Albon getting a second opportunity to race in Formula One. As for Haas, I don't really know what else to say about them because they're having a really rough time right now. So the best thing that they can do is just hope they get it right and can be a little bit more competitive. And it's a really unfortunate situation that Mick Schumacher is in because son of Michael Schumacher, lot of expectation of him to do great things in Formula One. And what you said, Josh, if the rumor is true about Haas F1 pulling out of Formula One and then the sponsor just taking over the team, that would be a devastating blow. And like if the team just like leaves altogether, that would be really bad. Because because since Mick Schumacher, is contracted with Ferrari, I don't really see a place for him if Haas leaves because you have Guan Yu Zhou bringing in a lot of sponsorship, and especially with the long-term contract with the Chinese Grand Prix being extended. I know they're going to want to keep Zhou on the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix, assuming it returns in 2023, and Bottas on a long-term deal. So there really would not be a place for Mick Schumacher to go if that Haas team is disbanded. So, Josh, you have any thoughts on that?
It would either be bye-bye Carlos Sainz or bye-bye Valtteri Bottas. They'll get rid of one of the two to put Mick in. They can't lose Mick Schumacher. Arguably as well, Valtteri Bottas, a talent that has gone. Maybe it seems like every driver from Finland goes to Alfa Romeo to sort of kill off their career. Raikkonen's done it as well. Even when the team was known back as Saulo did it as well. Going forward, I think we could see Mick Schumacher possibly as a third driver in Ferrari if Haas completely back out of it and Ducalari don't step up to be the complete team owners. Amber says, I think Sainz in trouble if Haas leave. Yeah, I was about to say that. I think Sainz would probably be the one to leave, and it'll be Schumacher and Leclerc Ferrari, because Ferrari, they're Italians and they're very, 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 very sentimental. They would love it to see a Schumacher back in their car. Honestly, it would be Mick Schumacher, M. Schumacher on the side of Ferrari once again. They just can't resist it.
Yes, a Schumacher and a Ferrari again. It would be an incredible sight, and we're probably going to see that again at some point in Formula One. And I totally agree with you. I find it hard to believe Mick Schumacher being left without a ride, and them sending him packing to the Ferrari hypercar program coming up, or even to the IndyCar series. I definitely think they'll find a way to keep Mick Schumacher in Formula One if worst comes to worst with Haas in the future. And Josh, we know you have to get going on a little while, so we're gonna let you do your pick a winner for the Qatar Grand Prix. So who do you think is gonna get it done tomorrow?
It's a close one. I'm probably one of the few people who have knowledge of this track as well from commentating the MotoGP. So I know what to look for. And I'm looking for who can do the best pit stop strategy. We're expecting it to be a two-stopper with an option of a third if a safety car comes out. So who do we know who's quick in the pit stops? Oh, yeah, Red Bull. They are very, very quick in the pit stops, and they mastercards with the switcheroos and the undercuts as well. But I don't think it's going to be enough. We saw this back last time out, and even in Mexico, Mercedes can get off the line and make their tires last as well. And even with that new rear wing, let's just see how it can go. I think it's going to be Lewis Hamilton to take victory tomorrow, with Verstappen second. Neither of them will get the fastest lap. And then I'll say the same happens in Jeddah. So we go into the last race with them level on points. That would be something to watch.
Yes, it'd definitely be something to watch. The Formula One championship battle going down to the wire, just like we all predicted at the beginning of the year, right? This is really, really incredible. I know we always rave about this wonderful championship battle we've seen all year, and for it to come down to the final race of the season instead of wrapping it up early, and we have another pick a winner there from Dima saying that Hamilton will will win. So we have someone in the chat room agreeing with you, Josh. So we're gonna let you get off of here for tonight, and we'll see you next time, Josh. So thank you for being here as always.
Thank you for having me, and hope everyone has a great rest of the show and a great tomorrow as well. And let's look forward to an exciting Qatar Grand Prix. It's only F1 left for the World Championship side of things, but I know you've got rallying coming up next, and that's going on right now, and I hope it's quite good. So I'll let you go on with that.
A very good rally indeed. World Rally Championship at Monza at the Temple of Speed. And boy, we are seeing a great battle all day today. Yesterday, Sebastian Ogier, especially up in the mountains, he was leading the first 5 stages, and here comes Elfyn Evans to take the last 2 stages of yesterday. But today, he and Ogier have been exchanging the overall lead and stage wins. The 13th and final stage for today has just ended, and Ogier took the lead, won the stage, finished ahead of Evans, and now entering tomorrow the final few stages, Sebastian Ogier leads overall Rally Monza. So this is a very exciting bout. It's been really fun watching the rally cars at Monza under the lights. Check it out. You have to check out World Rally Championship website. The photos of them on the banking on the old oval, running into the night. Monza lit up with fans in the stands. It's a unique atmosphere. Of course, traditionally they run from point A to point B, but because with the pandemic and they're in Monza, they've been running within the confines and just outside the venue as well. Yesterday going one direction, today the reverse direction, and then tomorrow it's going to be a whole new day of racing. And of course, Sebastian Ogier leads the championship of World Rally by 17 points. So for Elfyn Evans to get that championship, he needs to win and hope essentially Ogier scores less than 10 points to try to get any hope. And of course, if Evans could get that final stage win, that could really put him out. But right now, Ogier, he is looking good. Second place or first place, that's where he seems to be destined, and that's a big goal for him if he wants to win the Grid Ranking World Championship. His bigger rival in that, Shane Van Gisbergen, and he's kicked off the weekend in a big way today.
Yeah, and before we get to a recap of the Supercars race, have some breaking news from Formula One to share with everyone. Ferrari said they found damage to Charles Leclerc's Ferrari after qualifying. There was a crack in the chassis, so that means that Ferrari is going to be building an entire new chassis. Well, for Charles Leclerc for tomorrow's race, and the team is going to be working really hard to ensure that Leclerc is going to start from his qualifying position. So some big news there from Ferrari in the fight between Ferrari and McLaren in the constructors' battle, and being trying to see if Ferrari is going to have that new chassis ready to go, so Leclerc can maintain his starting position. And as Joe was saying, Sebastian Ogier's main rival in the grid ranking championship is Shane Van Gisbergen, running 2 races this weekend and 3 wins, can secure the grid ranking earlier today, or really early this morning for us here on the East Coast. He put on a performance we've expected from him each and every week, taking the win, but this time I think it was in truly spectacular fashion. To be honest, his drive left me speechless. He didn't get the best race start. He started the race on the super soft tires, lost time with fat tires in the pits after a full course caution. He got stuck in traffic on the hard tire compound, and Red Bull Ampol Racing made the call of the race to put SVG back on super softs, which had a few laps of wear, and SVG was far back from race leader Cam Waters at the time. But then the rains arrived towards the end. It gave the championship leader the advantage as the track dampened, and others ahead were struggling on the hard tire compound. So the super softs, as it started to rain, worked the best. So SVG, less than 15 laps ago, he stormed through the field, took the lead in the closing laps, and making it look easy, got the big win in what I consider one of his most impressive drives yet. Did SVG make a major statement by his performance that he's going to put 2 hands on the championship before the Bathurst 1000?
Yes, right now the point standings as they are looking, Shane Van Gisbergen just finished ahead of Jamie Whincup. The championship is his. I mean, it's already down to 2. There's no way, unless he goes out there and just has a first lap crash, falls way in the back. I don't see Jamie Whincup getting around, because even if Shane Van Gisbergen finishes dead last, Whincup needs to go out there and win the race. Tall task for him. I think Shane Van Gisbergen has one hand firmly on the trophy. The other hand is just about ready to grab onto that trophy, and is going to later today in the second race. And the big thing, I think this was a statement we've all been waiting for, because after the break, it seemed like Shane Van Gisbergen seemed to be just a little bit off, and people were wondering, did everyone catch up to Shane? Did Shane lose something during that long break? Well, now he made the statement. He's back. You're going to have to compete with him just to get a race win, and I think it's going to make it really exciting for the Grid Ranking World Championship.
And coming back from the break, I didn't necessarily think that Shane Van Gisbergen per se lost a step, but I really thought that he was more so points racing, taking it easy because he realized that he was in the position to control his own destiny moving forward in the championship. So yes, I thought some of his competitors gained on Red Bull Impel Racing, like Dick Johnson Racing, Antoine De Pasquale, really come into his own at Sydney Motorsport Park. His teammate Will Davison, not on the same level as Anton De Pasquale, but I thought Shane Van Gisbergen was just doing the smart thing, points racing, so he can put himself in position to lock up the championship as soon as he can. But he showed in that epic drive we saw in the first race of the weekend that he's still the dominant SVG we saw before the long extended summer break. So I think one hand on the championship now, and when the checker flag flies later today in Sydney, he's going to have two hands on the championship, and the only thing that he's going to have left is to win the Bathurst 1000, and it also looks like he's going to claim the Sydney Cup as well.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to claim the Sydney Cup. I will not be surprised if he gets the Bathurst 1000. And right now, he is poised into getting the Grid Ranking World Championship. Taking a quick updated look at the Grid Ranking, Shane Van Gisbergen with his win, 19.96. The big thing, Sebastian Ogier, if he wins the race and scores a final stage win, he is looking at 19.5. So for Shane Van Gisbergen, another win and essentially a podium finish will ensure he gets a championship. Two more wins, he is in full control. The big thing, of course, Kyle Larson, his shot at the Grid Ranking World Championship comes to an end because Shane Van Gisbergen, with that win, means his score cannot fall below Kyle Larson's score. So it's between Shane Van Gisbergen and Sebastian Ogier. Very exciting because neither series have seen a driver win the Grid Ranking World Championship. Of course, we've had one NASCAR Cup Series race winner with Martin Truex Jr. in 2017, Marc Marquez from MotoGP 2018, 2019, and last year Lewis Hamilton in Formula One. So it'll be really exciting to see if we get our first French and World Rally Championship driver or our first New Zealand and Supercar Series racer to win the Grid Ranking World Championship. And we'll have a full updated standings tomorrow on Grid Live Wrap Up.
And before we get to our final segment for Pick a Winner, we have some more breaking news from Formula One being reported by Chris Metlin from Racer.com that Max Verstappen has been summoned to the stewards for allegedly not respecting double wave yellow flags in qualifying. Yeah, so you just quoted that tweet from journalist Chris Metlin there. So some more interesting stuff happening from Ferrari having to give Charles Leclerc a new chassis for tomorrow's race, and now Max Verstappen being summoned to the principal's office once again. And it seems like Max is visiting the stewards a lot lately. And now moving on to a pick a winner segment. Be sure to tell us in the comments below who you think's going to win each race, and look at the standings right there. After getting correctly picking 3 out of 6 races last week, I moved into the pick a winner league. I also correctly picked Shane Van Gisbergen to win race 1 at Sydney this weekend. So got a 2-point lead over Joe, who's really led pick a winner almost all year long. But as soon as Kyle Larson's season ended, because if you've been watching these programs, Joe's been picking Kyle Larson every other week to win these races. Larson's no longer there, and it looks like Joe's advantage has slipped away, and Adams won behind Joe. So us three are really the only ones in contention to win the pick a winner championship for this year. And with that said, Joe, who's going to win the Qatar Grand Prix?
When it comes to Qatar Grand Prix, I'm going with Lewis Hamilton. That car is fast. Even if he doesn't get the lead on the first lap, I anticipate his advantage with that newer engine, the long main straight. He's going to get around Max Verstappen. And with that long straightaway, I'm not worried about the two of them colliding entering turn 1 unless for some reason Max really just pushes it because he knows he has the points advantage. And if Max Verstappen does have some sort of penalty for the double flags being displayed, I think that's just going to really ensure a Lewis Hamilton victory.
Yeah, I think since they made that power unit change in Brazil, I think Mercedes is definitely got a massive advantage right now. It seemed like they've had the pace over Red Bull. I know for the last half of the season, it really seemed like Red Bull had the pace over the Mercedes. But I don't know what Mercedes found in the car, but they definitely saved their best for last, and exactly what you need to do in any championship. But it seems like Mercedes definitely has the outright pace over the Red Bull at the moment, so that's why I'm going to go with Lewis Hamilton to win the Qatar Grand Prix, and think Mercedes is definitely going to be carrying the momentum these final 3 races of the year, and it's definitely going to come down to the wire to see who's going to win the World Championship, Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen. And we saw Shane Van Gisbergen with that epic comeback drive in race 1, took the big victory in spectacular fashion. So, Joe, who do you think is going to win race 2? Is it going to be Shane Van Gisbergen or someone else?
I got to go with Shane Van Gisbergen. My pick was Anton Despicali for race 1. Didn't get it done. And Shane Van Gisbergen, after that statement, I know Adams had said he thinks SVG could win the last 3 races. I am more of a believer now. SVG is going to win this weekend, and he's going to be hard to beat the following weekend.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a weekend sweep for Shane Van Gisbergen. I know I keep talking about his performance in race 1, and we've seen Shane Van Gisbergen have a lot of great drive, but I truly believe, well, from what I've seen, what I saw in race 1 this weekend was definitely the best drive of his entire Supercars racing career. I'm sure there's more, but based on what I've seen myself, so I only started following Supercar a couple of years ago. That's the best I've seen from SVG. So I think he's gonna have a banner weekend. He's gonna get the weekend sweep at Sydney Motorsport Park. He's gonna win the Sydney Cup, and he's gonna put 2 hands on that championship and become the 2021 Repco Supercars champion.
After such a dominant season, to see that kind of race yesterday, it really shows just the kind of athlete and dominant racer that he is. And of course, we encourage everyone to be sure to follow Grid Rankin on Twitter at Grid Rankin. And also be sure to visit our Patreon page. Keep us on the air. We're getting ready for 2022, which is going to be a big year for us. Big thank you to Colin, Mark, Deshaun, and Ron for investing in the Grid Network. Be sure to join them. And also click on our Buy Me a Coffee, where you could buy a drink for myself, Kobe, Adam, Joshua, or just make a contribution to the Grid Network one time, not a monthly subscription. So you got that option as well. And TikTok, we are at 199 followers. Go over there, become our 200th follower. We post great stuff there each and every week, including our pick a winner, so you can be one of the first people to comment with your pick winner. You can see several people from TikTok are there and active with us. It's always a lot of fun in TikTok. And be sure to visit public.com, use a referral code GRIDnet. You get $5 to invest in stock. You get to learn a lot of information from their daily podcast, in fact, Monday through Friday, and a lot of tools for first-time investors. Be sure to check out the stock market social media homepage and Publis.com. 10% discount for viewers of the Grid Network. Get your furry buddy good treats. Sometimes you might hear Kiska behind me today. That's our Grid office dog. This is a cause we care about, since 10% of your purchase goes to helping homeless, sick, and rescue dog. And be sure to subscribe to us right here on YouTube. We are on the air just about each and every week. However, this upcoming week, we have Thanksgiving coming up, so we won't be on the air on Wednesday for Grid Tonight. Thursday, we won't be on the air, and then, of course, there's no racing next weekend, so a good opportunity for everyone to just sit back, relax, because once we do come back in December 1st, Grid Tonight, then Grid Live pre-race as we preview Formula One at Jeddah, and the Bathurst 1000 Supercar Series season finale. You know Adam's going to be here. We want to wish Adam a special happy birthday as well, too. We know he's with family and friends, and he'll be on the air with us tomorrow, as well as Ben Schneider. So be sure to subscribe to us right here on the Grid Network on YouTube. For Kobe Lamb at the Podium Finish, I'm Joe Samaniego. Thank you for watching today's show. We'll see you next time.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest and start investing and networking on public.com.